Good morning, sunshine and diabetes. We're talking type 2 diabetes. So, we've created this environment that invites diabetes in. And sunshine, there are so many studies that show that sunshine decreases and decreases insulin levels. Sunshine. And it's just simply mitochondria need sunshine. Mitochondria is part of the signaling system in your body. Mitochondria need sunshine. And if you're not getting enough sunshine, your mitochondria can't do what they need to do for your pancreas. That's one of the issues going on. So we know being in the sunshine drops insulin levels. Type 2 diabetes, we got to drop those insulin levels. Too much insulin floating in your body creates all sorts of havoc in your body. And this is one of those topics I can get really passionate about because the incidence of type 2 diabetes is going to explode. Statistics are showing that it will explode. But here's the saddest part. It will explode in children the age under 18. Oh, and that is heartbreaking because a person who is insulin resistant, which leads to type 2 diabetes, or if they've gone full-blown type 2 diabetes, they are not functioning at their peak capacity and they're not going to feel good. Their brain's not going to work. So in essence, we're losing the benefits of them being them and showing up with their gifts and really making their mark and sharing with the world what they have to share. And the numbers are just heartbreaking. It depends on which study you read, but it doesn't matter which study because all of them in the next 20 years, diabetes will explode in people under the age of 18, where the numbers have always been heartbreaking above 18, but it took a while to get there. Now, anytime that we've got type 2 diabetes, and I'm seeing this right now in the group that I'm focused in. It's a intense group, not intense, it's a group of women that we're intensely focusing on turning our healthy switch on to increase our innate immune system response. And I'm seeing lots of adrenal stress. And when you have adrenal stress, that affects pancreas. And so anytime you've got type 2 diabetes, is what I hear is someone who didn't get enough light, didn't walk enough, and had adrenal stress that they didn't stay on top of. And that's where we need to look at tools in our tool belt. I'm really excited at the end of our time together today. I'd love you and I to do what's called 4-7-8 breathing. And that's a tool in your tool belt to help bring down stress. Walking helps bring down stress. Allison, who's a member of our Switched On group, made the comment that early morning walk, my mental health and helping her process and get insight has just become invaluable to her as a mom of young children. And so it's become a very important tool in her tool belt because it's not that we're negating all the stressful things in our life. It's how we're reacting to the stress. That's the only thing we get to choose, how we're reacting. And sometimes it feels like we don't have that choice. Like it just happens, like you don't even have a conscious choice to determine that, but you do. That's a lie. You do. As you strengthen vagus nerve, as you strengthen that, you increase your ability to choose your reaction to stress. So tools in your tool belt become really important if you're concerned about type 2 diabetes. And we've talked a lot, sunshine, vitamin D, active and stored, the right balance. That's the first thing you put into place. You don't go chasing other things. You put that into place. It's the first bridge you need to make sure is connected properly for optimal health. And it doesn't matter if you're focused on Hashimoto's, if you're focused on autoimmune, if you're focused on depression, if you're focused on thyroid, if you're focused on fibro, if you're focused on migraines, if you're focused on arthritis, if you're focused on gut health. Do you see how we can absolutely cut the overwhelm? Because the active and stored vitamin D need to be in the right balance. Calcidiol, calcitriol. You need to have those in the right balance. And your Western med doc is probably not going to test you for your active. So you've got to find other solutions to test for your active to make sure you're in the right balance. Sunshine and magnesium, soaking in magnesium, not oral, are the best way, optimal ways to put that into balance. So another tool in my tool belt is adaptogens. Adaptogens help your body to manage stress. Now, there's a very specific way you need to take them, and you can overuse adaptogens. And we don't want to overuse adaptogens. We want to use them to supplement the same thing we talked a little bit about yesterday, which that video is coming down. I'm tired of the private messages coming in on that one. I was super vulnerable. And for those of you that sent such beautiful, sweet messages, thank you so much. Anyway, it's coming down. But it's the same thing as what we talked about yesterday, in that if you have that stone turned over for antidepressants and you're using that, it's a time that you need to build and clarify your patterns, habits, beliefs, and systems. And it's the same with adaptogens. It's the same principle. You don't just take the adaptogen so you handle stress. You take the adaptogen with accountability, and you focus and improve on patterns, beliefs, habits, and systems, so that you're building your body with that reprieve of the adaptogen. So if you have a favorite adaptogen, share with me. I'd love to know, because the adaptogen that works for you might not be the adaptogen that works for me. No one can tell you. I think that's an overall theme during this 30 days of Walk With Me is stop looking for somebody to tell you exactly what to do. They can't. You're handing over your responsibility and accountability when you do that. You have to discover it for yourself. And as you take action and discover it, you're going to discover things that don't work. And that's where sick people stay sick, because they give up and they go, oh, nothing works for me. I did all of this work and good girl energy kicks in. And good girl energy is where I did this, I deserve this. You got to drop that. You got to let it go. Just because you did 3 things to get healthy does not mean you deserve health. Even if you're doing everything to get healthy, does not mean you deserve health. It's not a matter of deserving. like it's not a matter of deserving. It's about building a strong foundation. And so don't buy into that. I deserve health. That's tied to shame and guilt. And when you're tied to shame and guilt, you've got high cortisol levels. So it's just a matter creating health, picking up a stone, figuring out how it works for you, putting the stone down and celebrating. You're celebrating either that it worked and that's a fabulous stone, or you're celebrating that stone didn't work. And if you will take that approach, you will not give up, you will not stop, and then start 3 months later, and then stop, and then start 2 months later, because every single time, and every is a strong word, every single time that you stop and you give up, you've given yourself a bigger stick to beat yourself up with. And then the next time you go to start, your subconscious is like, oh yeah, remember when? And it holds you back to be the same, and it gives you physical evidence of why this new thing's not going to work. It will work, but you have to celebrate either way. If you gave up, if it didn't work, celebrate. Now you never have to go down that path again. You never have to expend energy again on that path because it didn't work. Or, oh my gosh, that one was amazing. It worked. Then you celebrate. Yay! And then you get ready to pull up the other stone, look at it, evaluate, figure it out, and move on. That is the process of creating a strong foundation. But that good girl energy sneaks in there and kicks you in the butt and stops you. Don't let it. You're done. You're done with that. You're absolutely done with good girl energy. Because if you hang on to that level of shame and guilt, you are stressing out your adrenals, losing your magnesium, and walking toward type 2 diabetes. And those adaptogens that we talked about will help you to manage stress. One of my favorites is ashwagandha because it helps lower cortisol in the body. But if you've been a cortisol junkie and you've got tons of cortisol that you haven't been aware of how to clean that up, then ashwagandha is going to make you really tired, and it's going to suppress thyroid function. So ashwagandha is not a good fit for everyone. Lion's mane is another really good one. Rhodiola is another really good one. Cordyceps is another good one. There are lots, but you have to find the one that works for you. And just because ashwagandha and or lion's mane works for me doesn't mean they're going to be your best adaptogen. Because an improper, an adaptogen that doesn't work for your body is going to make you more tired and can take you the other way. But if you don't understand that concept, then you're taking this adaptogen, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm taking this good thing, and not recognizing that's the reason you're tired. That's the reason you don't feel good, is because of that adaptogen. It's not a good fit for you. We're looking for a good connection. And while you're taking that adaptogen, You don't take it for years and years. You take it for 3 to 6 months. And while you take it, you focus on systems, habits, patterns, and beliefs, and you strengthen your mindset to be able to not react to stress and cortisol. And in turn, that boosts adrenal function. And in turn, that helps to boost your pancreas, because we don't want your pancreas overproducing insulin. And if you have ever eaten fast food or ever eaten out, you've had plastic fats. Fats that have been manipulated and processed in a way that they wrap around the cell. And then the cell says, hey, I'm not getting any insulin. And you do need some insulin in your cell. And your cell sends a signal. This is, hey, I'm not getting any insulin. And it keeps sending that signal. And so your body pumps more and more and more insulin. But because your cell is wrapped in that horrible fat, it doesn't pick up the signal. It's like people not listening. Your cell isn't listening because of the fats that you've chosen. So that's why it's so important to balance your eating out with your expectations and your goals. So there are some times that I just turn to, and my husband and I love to go find a little hole in the wall restaurant. We love it. And sometimes I turn to him and say, you know what? I'm eating out too much right now for what my goals are. And so I'm transitioning to this, and we find something else to do to connect. Sometimes I can handle once a week, usually more in the summertime because there's more sunshine. I can handle a little bit more than in the wintertime. And it depends on the ratio of omegas. What's your omega-3, 6, 9 ratio? We want the most omega-3s. To get omega-3s, cod liver oil. Not just any cod liver oil. It has to be a low heavy metal cod liver oil. And it needs to have whole food vitamin D and whole food vitamin A. Droppy, the kind, we'll post it. Not will, I won't have anything to do with that. Shelly will post that in the comments. The only cod liver oil currently, and that could change as I test their suppliers and test that cod liver oil to make sure it stays in the standard that we want. Cold water fish, crucial for your omega-3, 6, 9 balance. We need some 6s, we need some 9s, but we need more 3s. And our society is obsessed with 6s and 9s. And we need to consciously get 3s in every day. Cold water fish like cod and salmon, beautiful balanced omegas. Now, a lot of people right now will be thinking, oh, chia, flax. Your body has to have so many systems set up properly to be able to uptake and utilize chia and flax that you get benefit from the chia and the flax, but you get very little of an omega-3 boost. So those are not my go-tos. I love chia and flax, but not for omega-3s. And rebalancing your fatty acid profile is part of supporting your pancreas when it comes to diabetes. So I want to know, what has been most helpful for you while we've talked about all of the things about type 2 diabetes? Not all of the things, but a couple of the things about type 2 diabetes. Did you learn anything? Did you connect to any information? And what action will you take? Because me blabbing at you does not create health. It's completely in your hands when you take action. That's what creates health. So I had this dream, I had this goal. Right now, we have 21 people. I have a goal, 21 people sharing and creating synergy, and everyone seeing the other person's comment and going, oh, I hadn't even thought of that. And that's the give receive cycle. You share and you benefit from cementing it in your brain, and someone else benefits from seeing your insights because your insights will be different. You value, you matter. Your voice needs to be heard. Right now is an opportunity to share it and share your thoughts and insights and say, when you do, it's like a vote of confidence for yourself, saying, my voice matters. My thoughts have value. And someone who sees their own value has an easier time eating high value foods, because if you don't see your own value, if you don't maintain your value, it's a constant fight to eat high value foods that nourish your body. It's a mismatch. Have you ever seen a marriage and you've thought, oh, that's a mismatch? Same thing with your thoughts and values. And so little part, not a huge part, but a part of posting that comment is you believing that your thoughts and words have value. And when you raise your value, it becomes easier to take care of your body. I'm a purse girl and a shoe girl. And if I have a purse that is cheap, it's like vinyl-y, that stuff they call vegan PU or something. And it's just mass produced. I don't have as much value for that purse as I do a purse that's been made from high quality ingredients by an artisan who knows their trade. That purse I take better care of because I've placed a higher value on that purse. Now, personally, and you don't have to be like this to create health, I would rather have one pair of shoes that were made well and will last me years and years than buy a cheap pair of shoes that have to be replaced all the time. Because I know I will take care of those shoes and they will service me longer than a cheap pair. And there's less energy and focus on replacing those shoes all the time. And it's kind of the same thing, similar to your body. If you don't value your thoughts, if you don't value what you bring to the world, how are you going to walk away from low value carbs that are pushing you toward type 2 diabetes? It'll be a real struggle, and you will constantly fight that battle. Be done. Be done fighting the battle on low value carbs. And the way you do that is you up your value. You claim that your voice has importance and that your words have value, and you hold your space. So I can't wait to go back and look at all the comments. Let's do our 4-7-8 breathing. And this one, some people, depending on where your adrenal fatigue is, really determines how easily this comes to you. And if it's frustrating, really, do you have to have things perfect every time? We're learning together. So here is 4-7-8 breathing. The sand was deep. 4-7-8 breathing is where you breathe in for 4 counts. You count in your head. Breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4. You hold it for 7 counts. Hold it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you blow it out for 8 counts. And that rhythmic breathing is a tool in your tool belt to help with all the things going on around you so that you don't react to them, so that you're able, no matter what happens with any virus or any newscast or any news, so that you hold your value, you hold that place of peace, and you invite people into it. And those are women who create health and change the world. So let's go over that again. 4, 7, 8 breathing. You go up for 4, you hold it for 7, you go down for 8. We'll practice it one more time before we kick in. You go up, let's see, oh, there. You go up for 4, you hold it for 7, you go down for 8. Are you ready? Let's breathe together, you and I. Okay, here we go. Ready, go. What did you think of that one? Did you feel the difference of doing 4, 7, 8 breathing? Okay, you can make all my dreams come true. We are now 28 people live. Some of you are introverts. Some of you are extroverts. Some of you are like me and a little bit of both. For those of you like me that have that very, and I know people don't believe this, but I do. I have a very introverted side. If you're like me and you have a very introverted side, me asking you to leave a comment completely pushes you out of your comfort zone. Here's the deal. To create something different, you have to step outside of that comfort zone. So I'm giving you an opportunity to do that very thing. Step outside of your comfort zone. Leave a comment. Share the state you live in. Share what's most important to you that you learned off of this call. Share what was the most powerful thing that you learned off of this live, this time you and I had together. Share your action that you're going to take. Imagine if we had 29 women all stepping into the power of their voice and lifting each other and not making it about their fear, but making it about making a difference in the life of someone else. That's opening up your give receive cycle. Because if you're not receiving the help, it could be that you're not open on your give receive cycle. And that's a simple way to open your give receive cycle. Let's say that you're someone who just gives all the time, but you struggle receiving. That shuts down receiving help. And I know my Core 7 women, I say this all the time. If you play a pattern anywhere, you play that pattern everywhere. And that's one you got to think about a little bit to uptake. It's a powerful concept, though. So I can't wait to go back and see 28 women, some of you incredibly being pushed out of your comfort zone, especially those extroverts or introverts. Introverts actually take longer to heal, but they tend to stick with the decision that they've made. Extroverts jump in quickly, but they tend to give up. And that's not exact across the board, but you'll see that pattern really strongly with introverts and extroverts. So, you extroverts that are leading the way, we appreciate you. You introverts, I'm saying, come on in. It's safe. Your voice matters. We need your voice. Your voice has value. Up level your value right now. Take the action, up level your value. And as you take micro steps to do that, it will be easier for you to be drawn to higher value foods instead of a bag of chips, a Coke, and a Snickers. And face it, if you're continually drawn to that type of food, if you're continually drawn to that, let's go back to the analogy of 100 energy points. How many energy points are you taking to avoid those foods? It could be exhausting. Simple way, instead of telling yourself, oh, I'm not going to eat this, and setting up all these intricate things not to eat them, like depending on your willpower will fail you eventually. Let's do something different. And that is tap into the power of your value. And you do that by declaring to the world, I have value, my voice matters, and my opinion counts. And one simple way that I've given you right here is to leave a comment, your connection, what you learned, what your action step is. Can't wait to go back and read those comments. Tomorrow is our last. No, wait. What's today? Yeah, today's Thursday. So tomorrow is our last walk with me. And of my 100 energy points, I will take those energy points to welcome all of our new members into Course 7. If you opted to join, welcome. I cannot wait to connect with you, a one-on-one appointment. Some of you are traveling in the Central Coast and we're meeting at Morro Rock on Friday. I can't wait. And we're going to do some special things for you to really help you get fine-tuned on where your focus needs to be, where you need to put your energy points. If it wasn't a good fit for you, no worries. I've loved having you here with us on the Walk With Me series. Tomorrow is our last day. We will do one more share on magnesium, where I will share magnesium with different people. Now, here's where it gets a little confusing. I have numerous texting lists. One of those is just for Course 7 people. And it's where I send out things only for Course 7. One of those is for Good Life. And that's for everybody who's been on this Walk With Me series. And so sometimes that can be a little confusing, like, well, I'm on a texting list. If you want to be on the Good Life texting list, which is a very specific list, then you text 435-213-9048 and you text Good Life. No exclamation points, no emojis, just Good Life. Text that to that number and you'll get an automated response. And friends know friends' names, and you have to put your name. And sometimes we get silly names that aren't really your name, or kind of rude names, and we delete those because friends know each other's names. And that's a boundary that I've set up to protect myself from having trolls. The bigger the business gets, the more that happens. And it's helping me to set that strong boundary. So if you want to be on that list, where hopefully Friday, we've had a few issues with the list. If you didn't get texts yesterday and you've texted to that list, then we had a software glitch. Send it in again. If you got an autoresponder where it said, oh, look at you taking action, put your name in here, that means you're on the list once you put your name on. If you don't put your name on, in 3 days, we keep you inactive, and then 3 days later, you're automatically taken off the list. And it just comes down to that boundary of, I want to know, friends know each other's names. So if you'd like to be a part of that share of magnesium, I would love to have you text Good Life 435-213-9048. Now, if you're on the Core 7 list and you have not texted Good Life, you will not be included on that share page. And so I just want to help make that clear about how it works with a business text. So, value. You're going to hold it strong today. And you want to know one more way to practice value before we call it good for the day? And I'll go into prep for tomorrow. Tomorrow's type 3 diabetes. Did you know there was such a thing? There is. That's what we're going to focus on tomorrow is type 3 diabetes. And it's starting to explode. So another way to hold on to your value is evaluate kindly how you be kind to yourself. If you're in a group of people and they say, oh, where should we eat? Do you ever share your opinion where you want to go? That's a way that you can say and make your statement, my voice matters, my opinion counts, and I have a place in this world because I am a woman who holds my value. Oh gosh, love being with you today. Can't wait to go back. Usually is what I do is I go do the rest. I do between 8 to 12 miles. Then I go back to my car and I do a quick glance at the comments and read those. So I'm excited to go back. We'll see if all my dreams come true and everybody left their value mark on this call. Are you willing to leave your value mark and say, hey, my voice matters? Because when you live that way, when you take actions that way, it becomes easier to choose high value food that nourishes your body and walks you where you want to be. Have the best day. See you tomorrow.